What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and today I want to talk to you about brand identity and how you can strengthen the first impression of your business and the recognition it deserves immediately with these simple steps, processes, and just things to think about as your brand moves forward. Let's get it. All right, so brand identity. I'm actually really excited to get into this with you guys because branding, logo design, all that stuff that falls under that umbrella is actually where my design career began. And it doesn't really matter if you inherited this business and it's been going on for generations in your family, or if you started this business last week. Either way, these tips will take you to that next level, guaranteed. But first, I think it's crucial to begin this video with answering the simple question, what is brand identity? Now, if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, isn't it just a strong logo design? Well, you're not wrong, but it goes so much deeper than that. Brand identity actually encapsulates all of the visual elements in your brand. So you're talking color palette, fonts, logos, icons, textures, patterns, everything that is a visual element that's going to assist your brand. Well, there you go. That's gonna be your brand identity. And maybe that seems like way too much to think about right now, especially if you're running your business by yourself. I mean, I get it, that's so common these days. But there is a simple approach to building this, and I'm actually going to revise my brand identity from the ground up with you guys right now. All right, so part of the reason why I want to revise my brand is because I have this vision for a new website, and I really think I can strengthen some parts of my brand as well with this new revamp of the website. So I have this little setup here. It's not the greatest, but basically what I'm trying to capture is a self-portrait for the home page of my site, and it's gonna follow suit of the brand colors that I have, and you're gonna see how it all ties into the new brand more towards the end of this video. But I wanna show you what I'm working with. Again, it's not much, but let's check it out. So yeah, we're not working with much here, as you can see, but I did tie this black sheet the best I could just to hang it up. And I'm gonna be sitting in this computer chair here. I'll probably put this camera on this tripod and just remote this scenario to take the shot. I have my ring light here to emphasize the window light. I might not need it, but I think I'm gonna have it on just really low to emphasize that light, because I really want this half of my face to be exposed and then this half of my face to be completely blacked out, creating this gradient of exposed to not exposed. I think this is going to be a black and white photo too, as I foresee it. That's why we have the black background, but let's see. Let's try to take this shot and see what we get. Alright, so now that we got that photo out of the way, I'm going to put that off to the side for right now, and I want to come back to building the identity of the brand. And I have this brand guide on my computer. It's a super easy template, something that you guys could follow too as you build your brand identity. But let's check it out, see what we got going, and see how we can just strengthen this brand and see where we go with this thing. So let's check it out. All right, so as you can see, I have the brand guide pulled up here. It's very simple with just these different headers as we go down the page. But first I have the primary logo, which is already filled in here. This is just my business logo that I've been using for a while now, but now I have some secondary logos that I want to put in. So if you have secondary logos or icons, this would be the place to put them in. And I know that having multiple logos and icons might sound confusing at first, but it all makes sense when you give every logo a job to do. Sometimes your logos can just be other variations of your primary logo, so if you have different ways of ordering your logo, maybe icon on top, text below, or icon off to the side and then the text to follow through, this would be the place to add those logos. Or in this case, I'm going to be adding some secondary logos that I'm going to use strictly for content creation and my social pages apart from my business. All right, so if you remember from my video intro, you saw this logo, and this is gonna be my secondary icon. I have a couple of them, so I'm gonna just line them up, super simple. I have this document that I made earlier, but I'm just gonna copy this because I want to put it all in one place. And then I'm just gonna paste it right on my document. We can make this a little bit bigger, no big deal. going to center this because I want to add the text from this slide over here. I'm just going to copy and paste just the Jordan part because I don't know exactly where I'm going to be using this, but I know that I want to use it. And like I said before, if I'm going to be having a secondary logos, they should all have a job to do. So what I mean by that is if you pull one of those secondary logos out, you want your consumers to be able to recognize it. You don't want them to be like, oh, like where did that come from? I don't really see that very often. You should be using them consistently for the job they were made to do. So let's just paste this in here really fast. It is white, so let's change the color of that. And I will resize this a little bit here. And there we go. There's my secondary logos. Pretty simple. All right, so moving down to color palette, I actually already have my color palette pulled because this could be done with a little bit of research. It could take a little bit of time going through just different color palettes. You can use Pinterest or any other resource just to find a nice color palette that suits you. So like I said, I already pulled this. I'm gonna hop over to this document here and just copy these colors and paste them right on my document. My rule of thumb is that I don't really do more than 8 different colors for a color palette, but that's just me. But essentially what I'm doing here is just gathering all of my elements and putting it in one place so that I can reference it whenever I need it, or if a business partner needs to utilize some of these elements, again, they're all in one place. So moving on to typography, this section can actually be really simple as I like to choose 3 to 4 different fonts that represent my brand really well and only utilize those brands through any medium that I'm going to be advertising my brand. So basically, whether that is digital, physical, print, whatever it is, I'm only going to be using one of these 4 fonts. So try to make them unique, try to make them different from one another, but try to have something that is bold for headers, try to have something that is nice and legible for longer text, and then maybe some sort of stylized font for more like fun advertisements if that is the way that your brand goes. So on this document, I actually will just be typing the font name and then all the characters that belong in that font underneath that. So let me show you how that's done. The first font I'm actually going to be doing is Axis. So I'm going to type the name Axis and then make that a little bit bigger so I can see it. I actually think it's Axis extra bold. So I'm going to type extra bold as well, since that is the full name. Let's make this a tiny bit smaller. And then I'm actually going to type all of the characters underneath it. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but I'll typically type every capital letter and every lowercase letter and then the numbers. In this case, it is only one size, so I'm just going to type A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So something like this is what I'll do for every font, and since I have 4 of them for my brand that I chose, I'm just going to skip ahead and fill in the rest of them for you. All right, so you can see that I filled in all of my typography and every single letter and number that goes along with each font. And I actually already filled in the mood board because I figured that going through all of the different places that I found these would be a little extensive. But I actually have a lot of content from my personal Instagram since I've been going a little while, but I really want to niche down in the certain styles that I want to start producing on my page. So I went fishing through a couple other creators and just people that inspire me and started to really narrow down the style that I want to go forward with on my Instagram pages, in my ads, on my website, all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't really have to be anything super technical. This can be as long or short as you want it to be. I felt like this was a good size, a good amount of images to really encapsulate what I want to do. A lot of photos, a lot of flat lay, travel stuff. And then I even threw in just a little graphic thing here because I might start doing some more stuff like that on my Instagram. But let's take a look at the full board one more time. All right, so this is our full brand guide. Like I said, it's super simple, super easy to follow, just kind of breaking down each section and filling them in accordingly. Just these 5 sections will really bring together your brand and bring clarity for the purposes and the consistency of where you will see all of your brand elements, from your primary logo to your secondary logos and or icons, your color palette, which is going to be the only colors you're going to be using throughout all of your mediums, your typography, and of course that mood board to keep you inspired. All right, so I'm super excited on how this brand guide came out. Just so stoked for the direction that this is going and the season that I'm entering. So I hope that you're getting excited too, because creating brand guides can really bring clarity on where you want to go. And if this is something that you haven't made before, I highly suggest giving it a shot. And if you'd like to use the same template that I used, I'm gonna leave a link in the description below, so feel free to use it all you want. I did make this in Illustrator, but if that's something you're not comfortable with, I'm gonna be making it as a PDF document, so you could utilize it pretty much in any program that you'd like. But before we end this video, I did say I'm gonna show you how that photo came out, and let me tell you, this photo came out sick. It came out so good for the website. I'm super excited. I don't quite have the website finished yet, so I'm just gonna show you the homepage and what it's looking like right now, but I assure you by the time this video hits, you can go to jordanfremigan.com to see the full design. But for now, let's check out this photo. All right, well, that's all I got for you today, but if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell notifications to be notified, all that great stuff, and why don't you comment down below and tell me more about your brand and what you do. But until next time, peace.